If you do a good job in making people, the key stakeholders, do well, that's going to be good for business over time. All right? Quarter to quarter, there's ups and downs that go through, but that sustainable long-term business we think is critical and an essence of what CECP is all about. One of the big platforms or verticals that CECP focused on was community investment. We are kind of the experts. We are the experts in that field. 300 companies do our annual survey. Last year, $26 billion. Almost a Fortune 100 company on its own that people have invested back into society, and we've set the standards for that area. The way I think we get our best learning and can hold each other's hands in this journey is by hearing from the experts and really engaging, which is what we're going to be doing here for the rest of the morning. We're going to be hearing from all of these folks today. We're going to really ask you all to participate in your tables and really be engaged over the next few hours. Good discussions and conversations. We'll report those out.
"75% say the system doesn't work. It's not fair. I need change." Why? Well, because they're scared. 80% of people believe they're going to lose their job in the next decade because of automation, gig economy, or globalization. This is hugely important to appreciate the consequence of this. 90% of people said, "I want CEOs to stand up and speak up on the issues." 75% say, "Don't wait for government. CEOs, act. Please lead. Fill the void. We can't do this anymore. It's no good. You're the change. Be the change. Be brave." On top of that, you start to see business having real expectations to make money and improve society. 3/4 of people say you can walk and chew gum, so do it. And on top of that, they really want business to look at a stakeholder model. And why? 2 big reasons. The first is employees. 3/4 of people say, "I'm only going to work for a company with value and values. I want to make money, but I want to change the world. Be open to letting me contribute to that. Don't just do, listen to me." The second is belief-driven buying. The idea that consumers are exercising brand democracy every day. I can vote every day at the drugstore. I don't have to wait till every 4 years.
How do we tell our story better? How do we engender the trust that we all want to do and prove with credible data that we are making a difference? And so the big pillars that the draft of the paper that the profession has been working on was profiled at the World Economic Forum in Davos. We're taking that feedback, but the pillars are people, it's the planet, it's prosperity, and there has to be another P, which is, it doesn't exactly fit, but we made it fit, of principles of governance. And I think this is an important, period in time for us to really come together to really prove that there is action and that we're making a difference.
I began to study continuous improvement seriously to address the poor productivity that I described. And my Toyota tutor taught me a core CI principle. He said to me, "At the heart of continuous improvement is a deep respect for the dignity of people." And I remember hearing that for the first time and thinking it was a little bit of mysticism, maybe a little Eastern. Didn't quite get it, but over time it became clear to me what he was getting at. If you're going to ask for the best energy and the best focus from your people for your company, you have to stand for the best for their futures. That's only fair. Or to put it a little more crudely, you can't ask for the best energy, creativity, and focus and then say, "Thanks for the productivity, and by the way, really don't need you anymore, so we're shrinking," etc.
It is the largest brand, if you can think of another one, that was directed at black women in the history of this country. Revenue-wise, there isn't a larger one. 90+% of my employee base are black women. The stores are in black neighborhoods. It serves a purpose well beyond selling clothes. And the clothes represent the product, but the main product is that it was a safe place. It's one of the few places that it was for this woman. I think being a plus-size black woman with moderate income, I think it's a relatively vulnerable demographic in this country. And this was a place. So we have a lot of ways to go. We're going very deep with our core black woman. We're going wide with other races and saying, have you ever heard of Ashley Stewart? Because it's a startup to a lot of other demographics. They've never heard of the brand before. And it's our way by using this business to give this woman a voice, and I think to present her in the way that I've grown to really know her over the last 7 years. She's the most loyal, hardworking, dedicated colleague that I've ever had. And so, that's our story.
I spent 20 years at MIT as the Eastman Kodak Professor of Management, working with firms that were trying to change. And I became convinced that corporate change was one of the toughest and most important issues we face, and that the key to it was purpose. This was an odd thing for me to conclude, since I have an undergraduate degree in engineering from MIT and a PhD in economics from Harvard. And in none of that education was there a word about purpose or values. We face a major transition in our economy and our world, and purpose-driven firms will almost certainly be vital if we are to maintain our current institutions and our current focus on free market capitalism. I am deeply concerned about the future of the world. 3 days ago, we ran a debate at Harvard with the question at the Harvard Business School, is capitalism broken? We asked the students to vote on their phones, 1,000 students. What fraction would you guess think capitalism is broken? Throw me a number. 82? 50-50. 50% of the students at the Harvard Business School think capitalism is broken. So I'll tell you what makes the difference between the high-performing firms and the low-performing firms, and you all already know. High levels of trust, high levels of communication, the ability to do problem solving, long-term commitment to the employees, promotion on the basis of merit, not necessarily quantitative metrics, but really pulling out the high-performing people. And what I have come to believe is that the difference is purpose. And by purpose, I mean having values that stand before making money. That making money is super important, but it is a means to the end, and the end is living strongly in our values and providing value to our customers, employees, and communities. And that if you do that, everything else is easier.
Diana, what reaction had in your company the fact that you were signing the purpose of the corporation statement of BRT? Did you get any reactions?
Well, it was really a natural for us to sign the Business Roundtable statement. I remember when I saw the first draft and I showed it to some of my colleagues, and they said, yeah, this is a no-brainer. Guardian is almost 160 years old, and we were founded by a German lawyer who was concerned about discrimination against immigrants in the United States at the time, and German immigrants couldn't get life insurance, and he thought that was not right. So we've always had a social purpose.
What surprised us, I think, more was the reaction we got, not as much from our investors, but from the media. The media portrayed this in some cases as more of an or. So if you're not going to put the shareholder first, then you're putting other stakeholders first. The way we looked at this is that this is an and that all these are interconnected. And if you're going to provide long-term shareholder value, then you better be taking care of your customers. You better be treating your employees the way that you need to, and the suppliers that you work with, and the communities. Healthy communities spur healthy business environments.
I landed in the right place because I landed in a company that did have a purpose and used the purpose in their business. A demonstration of that we did have a purpose is that our credo, which is the statement that shows that we need to take care of our 4 constituents consumers and patients, employees, communities, and shareholders was issued for the first time in 1943, so 77 years ago. So it runs deep in a company like Johnson & Johnson. And during this period, we have had 57 years of consecutive dividend increases and 36 years of consecutive earning increases. So it shows a good connection between purpose and results.